She booked a portrait session. She didn't expect to feel like that. Claudia had been told the painter was good. Excellent, actually. Client's words, not his. He didn't have a website, no social media presence, just a phone number and a studio address in a part of the city where the streets were still cobblestone. She called. He answered in 2 rings. His voice was unhurried, like someone who had nowhere else to be. She booked 4 sessions, 2 hours each. She told herself it was for the boardroom portrait she'd been putting off for 3 years. She told herself she wanted something serious, something that meant something. The studio was warmer than she expected. High ceilings, northern light, the smell of linseed oil and old wood, and something else she couldn't name. He didn't shake her hand. He simply gestured to a chair in the center of the room, positioned with what she understood later had been extraordinary care, and said, "Sit anywhere you like." She sat exactly where he'd pointed. The first session, he barely looked at her. He sketched. He moved around the space with the quiet efficiency of someone doing something they had done 10,000 times before. She didn't know what she'd expected. Maybe conversation, maybe the performance of it. But there was none. Just light and the scratch of charcoal and the strange sensation of being truly looked at without being spoken to. She came back. The second session, he adjusted her position once. Just once. He stepped close enough that she could feel the warmth of him, placed 2 fingers very lightly on her shoulder, angled her chin a degree to the left. He stepped back. He said, "There." She didn't breathe for a moment after he stepped away. The third session, he turned the canvas and showed her what he'd done. She had expected something professional, something composed and competent and flattering in the way that professional portraits are flattering. What she saw instead was something she didn't know how to look at. He had painted her actual face, her actual expression, in a way that made her feel seen, in a way that was almost indecent. She said, "That's not how I look." He said, "It is, actually. You just haven't looked from the right angle." She left without scheduling the 4th session. She called back 2 days later. The 4th session was quiet, like the others. He worked. She sat. The light moved across the afternoon the way it always does, slowly, then all at once. At some point, she became aware that they had stopped talking about the painting. She couldn't say who had changed the subject. He told her the portrait was finished. He turned it to face her. This one was different. Still recognizably her, still technically precise, but there was something in it she couldn't look at directly, the way you can't look directly at something that matters too much. She said, "What do I owe you?" He said, "I'll let you know." She carried the portrait home on the bus, wrapped in brown paper and tied with string. In her flat, she leaned it against the wall and stood back and looked at it. She has not looked away since. She never paid him. He never asked. The painting is in her bedroom now. Some evenings, when the light is right, she sits across from it and she thinks about the angle. He was right. It is exactly how she looks.